Hello, welcome to Thursday Thoughts, where I answer your questions and I bring on special guests to speak on topics to one of my wellness pillars. Now, today we're going to address the financial pillar, empowering people, inspiring change. I would like to introduce to you all Minister Mary Steve-Brookins. Mary is a woman of faith, confidence, and excellence. With a health professional and financial background, she was saved and received the Holy Ghost, called into intercessory in her early 20s. Mary is a 20-year retired Nurse Corps officer. As a result of her service, she has taught and trained hundreds of thousands of people concerning health and wealth. She was the first officer to receive her certificate as a master instructor from the 383rd Training Squadron, the 937th Training Group, JBSA Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, Texas in 2014. She obtained her BSN in nursing from UAB 36 years ago, a master's in adult education with a concentration in curriculum development from the University of Phoenix. As a result of being a health and wealth strategist, Mary has counseled and changed lives for over 53,000 families concerning wealth building and health improvement. She is currently an executive wellness advocate internationally, a financial marketing representative, and a published author of her workbook titled 5 Steps to Electric Pearl Life. And the book is due to launch early next year. Now, Mary owns and is the CEO of MLS International LLC, which she creates and sells her own unique brand of t-shirts and books for the betterment of its people and the kingdom of God. How exciting is that? Mary is a minister under the leadership of Bishop Mark and Apostle Brenda Williams at New Life Deliverance Temple Church in Navarre, Florida. Mary believes and relies on prayer, intercession, studying the word, peace, faith, eating healthy, exercising, meditating, in order to have a balance in life and to stay obedient to God and remain healthy in your mind, your body, your soul, spirit, to fulfill her purpose in and for God. So, Mary's motto is trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. And in all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. That's Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Wow, what a powerful bio, guys. You are all in for such a treat with this interview. So grab your pens and your pads, okay? And if you find value in this interview or during this interview, please subscribe to my channel. Click that notification bell. And I pray you get value out of this interview. Here, I got my water.
Well, water.
Hello. Okay, so hi, hi everybody. This is Wanda, your holistic health practitioner here. And today, what I'm going to do, I am so excited to be interviewing the wealth strategist, Miss Mary Steve-Brookins. Now, you know, my whole motto is physical, mental, spiritual, social, environmental, and financial wellness. And the last one is your self-discovery of yourself. So I'm super excited to have someone come on and share with us wealth building and what that looks like. So stay tuned and we're going to get started here.
Hello, 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 my beautiful, beautiful sister. I'm so excited to have been invited today. Thank you so very much. Wanda and I go way back years ago. We both worked in education and training in the United States Air Force. I retired as a nurse, 20 years, 3 months, and 10 days. I'm so excited about that. There's a certain amount of freedom in that retirement. Even though I retired from the Air Force, I am still working in the wealth building business. and just like you, Wanda, in the health building business, because that's where people really are. The life or the world we live in today is so stressful, and with the pandemic and everything that's going on, people are having health challenges, health issues, but they're having big financial and money issues as well. So this is right on time.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why I invited her on to do this interview with me and to share this with the world. So I'm going to get right down to it, guys. I'm going to have several questions for her. So we're going to dig into a few things. So pull out your notebooks, listen intently to what she has to offer. And I know you're going to get some great value out of this interview. So my first question for her is, what is your definition of wealth? How do you define wealth?
Okay, y'all ready? Hold on to your seatbelts. Economic empowerment. Have you ever been empowered or felt like you have not been empowered to do certain things with finances? So it's economic empowerment to me, to be wealthy. You are in control of your economics. You're in control of your future, your well-being. You're leaving a legacy for the next generation when you are wealthy. There are a lot of people who think that wealth and riches are the same thing, or being rich is the same as being wealthy, and that is not so. When you are rich, that means you have a large amount of money for a short period of time until that money runs out, right?
Yeah.
And I see that, Wanda, when you have the lottery winners, and they win quick, fast, in a hurry, but their mindset had not had time enough to change from a poverty mindset to a wealthy mindset. So that's why you find the statistics is that they are poor again in the next 3 to 5 years, even though they've won $5 million.
Yes, I remember someone went to high school like that. I think the parents won, and I've heard that. One thing I really like what you said, economic empowerment. I had to take notes now, meaning I'm recovering from wrist surgery, so I'm taking some notes now, just so you all know. I have my notebook right here, so I am going to be taking some notes myself. And I love the fact leaving a legacy. That was really good. So I hope you guys caught that, economic empowerment.
Can I share a little bit more?
Yes, go ahead.
Being wealthy is sustainable. Being rich, you may not be able to sustain it. But when you are wealthy, you are able to sustain that wealth. And if you lose it, like in the stock market, if you lose it, a wealthy person will always be wealthy because their mindset is wealthy. The mindset and changing your mind and the way you think is so key to you accumulating and keeping your wealth.
Okay, awesome. That's really good. So let me ask you, this is another question I want to ask you. And I'm going to ask this question. Should you have a savings account to build wealth?
Excellent question. You have great questions. I am not a fan today in this stage of my journey of a savings account to build wealth. When you're younger and when you're a child and your parents take you to the bank, you need to start a savings account. You need to develop the habit of putting money away and delay gratification for something that you want in the future. You need an emergency fund. So you need a savings account for something short term. You need to have at least 6 months to a year of your living expenses saved in an emergency fund. So you can do that with the savings account in your bank, but you can also do that with the mutual fund with your company, with your financial planner or financial advisor. So you don't necessarily have to have one, but I think it's good practice to teach the younger generation about delayed gratification and putting money away. To build wealth, though, you need to earn way more interest than the banks and the credit unions are giving you. Banks in San Antonio are paying you 0.27%. Oh my God. And banks here in Florida, I'm in Navarre, Florida, and they're paying me 0.05% on my savings account.
0.05%.
Absolutely. And we could talk about the rule of 72. We could talk about that in another session or another time.
Yes, yes, yes.
The rule of 72, man, is something else. And it used to be called the banker's rule. And only the bankers knew it. And so I'm an educator of wealth as well. And we sit down and we work out a strategy. But I tell you, in elementary school, in high school, and college, we did not get taught how money worked. Why not? Because people want you to be ignorant. They want you to,
Have a savings account.
They do. They want you to have a savings account. And I would say it's okay in the beginning and as a child when you're teaching them about how money works, yes. But when you get older and you gain more knowledge from your studying and from your coming to webinars and seminars and shows that you're putting on, Wanda, then people need to do better than that savings account. That is like the bare minimum that you should have. And it's not for building wealth. Savings account is not for building wealth.
Okay.
It is for holding your emergency fund.
So you said your emergency fund should be 6 months to a year of living expenses. Okay, so now this is a question that just popped off of this question. How do one determine their living expenses?
Great question.
How does one determine that?
Yeah, these great questions. There's a formula. There's so many formulas that are out there. If people are just willing to do a little reading, you know what I mean? Do a little reading, do a little researching. How much debt is okay? 28 to 36% debt is okay, but you should be working to get that debt down. That's 28% of your salary.
You said 28%?
Yes.
To be debt?
That's including your mortgage, your homeowner's insurance, your credit cards, your car.
Okay.
That's all of your liabilities. That's all of your debt that you have. Should not be more than 28% of your salary. And if you're purchasing a car, your car payment, your mortgage payment shouldn't be no more than 10%. Let's say you, 2,000, what's 10% of 2,500? If you bring $2,500 a month, 10% of that's going to be $250, right?
Right.
You should not have a car note, more than that. But we live way above our means. Nobody's living beneath their means today. If you're using credit card debt, listeners and viewers out there, if you are using credit cards to pay your bills, you are living above your means. You're not being frugal. You need to live beneath your means. And when you get that raise, don't spend the raise. Oh my goodness. Can we save the raise? Can we save the raise?
Hashtag don't spend the raise. That's a new hashtag.
You may get a cost of living raise every year. So this year, don't spend it. Next year, maybe spend half of it, and enjoy it and live it because you worked hard for it.
Yeah.
And then the other half, you need to be scrolling that back. You need to be putting in a high performance fund that's earning you way more than 0.05% interest.
Okay. Well, see, now you done spun me 2 more questions off of that. You guys would know, the more she's talking, the more my mind is like, the wheels are turning. I'm trying to take notes with this hand. And that's just keeping me going. So you talked about not using a credit card. And that was another question I did have for you here. Should you use credit cards? And so with that being said, you said we're using them for our debt. How would you recommend one to use them? Because with the way society is now, you can't do anything without a credit card. And I know you got prepaids, but then there's some businesses don't take prepaids. So what would you tell us about, should we use credit cards? Now I know there's some schools of thought saying, well, if you're using it for business, if you have a business, then it's like a business debt, but you still need to be mindful of that. So just on the normal side of not owning a business and just the average person, how should they use credit cards? Since, because you hit that saying, if you're using them all the time, then you're living above your means. So
absolutely.
So how should one use a credit card?
Excellent question again. There are about 10 reasons why you should use your credit card. Cashback. you should only have a cashback credit card. That means it should be when you paying you 1.5% interest back on everything that you've charged to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Use it for reward points. Which one? But there are several out there that would give you rewards and they would give you cash back on what you spent on it. Frequent flyer miles. There are credit cards that are attached to frequent flyer miles. And so, yes, that's a good reason to have one. Another good reason to have one is to keep vendors honest. You may pay cash for something and you leave and it's a lemon. But if you use your credit card, then you have a record of that transaction. So you can keep vendors honest by using your credit card. I would say a grace period. Your credit card has a grace period. You can pay with your debit card, purchasing a bed that you may buy, but you can leave that money in the bank earning interest, use your credit card, pay that credit card off either in 2 payments or 1. Okay. And you got a grace period. You may have like 5 or 10 days before you have to pay on that purchase. Whereas when you use your debit card, it immediately comes out of your checking account or however you have it set up.
Mm-hmm.
You have insurance. Some credit card companies have insurance on their credit cards and you don't even know it. So you may have credit cards that may have insurance on them as well. Universally, credit cards are accepted. The Chase logo or the MasterCard logo, right? So I encourage people to have just one credit card, pay it off every month. If you are not disciplined enough to pay that credit card off every month, do not use it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Only those who are disciplined to pay it off every month should use their credit card. It's good to use a credit card if you don't have any credit to build credit. But you need to be in good standing. You can't have late payments on it. It's going to drop your FICO score. So you need to be wise with your credit. You need to be diligent and disciplined, very disciplined with a credit card because it can get away from you. So if you know yourself, so know thyself. If you know that you are the type that's going to keep a balance running for 3 to 6 months on that card, that's not the best way for you to start using money and using credit until you develop that discipline. Then I would say use your debit card with a MasterCard or Visa logo on it to hold hotels that you need, to book flights that you need, with the credit card. So run a car, so you need credit cards for certain things that you do. But if you're not disciplined, then just use your debit card with that MasterCard or Visa logo on it.
Okay, so now you sparked me another question. Because it's talking about debt, taking on debt. So now if you already had, now this is great advice. If you don't have one, get yourself set up perfectly. So she's giving us some great tips. Like I say, didn't teach it in school. So having no idea. We all did it backwards. 99.9 of us did it backwards. So now that we've done it backwards, and so I got the credit card, I got the debt on there, I got more than one, and all those things. So now my next one is, the question was going to be, what's your take on debt? But since you spun it that way, how do we get ourselves out of this whole credit card debacle we've gotten ourselves into, so that we can go back to building this wealth, having this economic empowerment? How do we do that once we got 3 credit cards? How do we get ourselves back on track? I love the percentages. I'm gonna have to go back and do some calculations to see about my percentage. I don't have a car payment, so I'm good on that one. but I'm just curious now since we got this card and we didn't do it that way, how can we get ourselves out of this credit card debacle we've done put ourselves in? Should we cut them up? I've heard so many things. Like somebody say, cut them up, don't cut them up, close them, don't close them. I'm still on the fence with a lot of it. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. So what's your take on that one?
Great questions. Great questions. Your questions are just amazing. You just have great questions. Oh my gosh. The credit card. Let me tell you about my experience. Talk to bankers, friends of mine who are bankers, and they said, definitely shut the account down. This is their reasoning for closing the account once you pay that card off, right? Or close it before you pay it off. They say so that when your creditors are looking at your credit history and they see that it's closed, they feel better that you don't have the access to go out there and charge up that $10,000 credit card. Okay. I did this backwards, so learn from my mistake. I had a Chase Visa that I had since my early 20s. And so that is the one that I actually closed, and I shouldn't have, because your FICO score, 30% of it is based on the history of credit that you have. So that would have been a 40-year-old credit card, amazing history, and that hikes your FICO score way up.
Yeah.
So I would say, don't close your credit cards immediately. Don't close them immediately. Get them to a zero balance. Pay everything off. And keep the one that has the lowest interest rate and is giving you the best rewards and the best payback, cash back, money back. Okay? Now, 27% and above, 21% and above, 18% and above is way too high for a credit card.
Mm-hmm.
So I want folks to do this tomorrow. Call your credit card company, speak to them, ask them to lower that interest rate. Ask them to lower that APR. And if the person you're talking to on the phone says, I'm not qualified, I don't have that ability or that authority to do, then say, well, may I speak to someone who has the authority to lower my interest rate? And so that person needs to put you on the phone with their supervisor or their manager so that you can get a lower interest rate while you're paying off your card. So first, ask for a lower interest rate, even if it's 1%.
Right.
Even if it's 1%, that's better than anything. And if you can pay extra on the principal, great. One thing I don't want you to ever do, never ever pay the minimum amount on a credit card. Never, ever. And if you notice, your minimum amount every month as you pay on it gets lower and lower. Maybe about $1, about 50 cents, because they don't ever want you to not pay them the highest interest rate or ever get out of debt. It's not set up for you to win. Okay? Credit card companies are despicable sometimes, and it's not set up for you to win. So pay on the principal, never pay the minimum amount. Okay? Cut the card up if you're not disciplined to have it in your purse. Okay? Some people actually put it in the freezer, or they locked it away somewhere.
I might find out.
So you can't use it. Do whatever works for you to get out of this debt. And we teach debt stacking or debt snowballing. So as you pay off a credit card and you have two more, don't spend that money and think that you have extra money. You put that $50 on the next credit card. That's $100. So now you're paying $150. You're going to pay that second one off way faster. And then that whole one, go ahead.
No, let me ask you, so if putting that on that extra, so if I put that extra 50, let's just use even numbers, it's easier, 150, the extra $50 on the next credit card. If I pay that on 150, will I take that extra 50 and put it on my principal, or do I just put the 150 since they're doing that whole interest calculation thingy that they do?
Because they're doing the interest calculation, you always put it on the principal. Always pay on the principal, because when you lower your principal, the interest rate that they have to charge is less. The money that they're charging the interest rate to is less, because the principal is what the interest rate is charged on. It's called dollar cost averaging. And I tell you, it's amazing. It's amazing how you can get in debt with that dollar cost averaging, but also you can earn a lot of money if you got it working for you on the opposite end, the dollar cost averaging. Absolutely. So the interest rate is 18% or more, way too high. See if they can get it down to 10 or less.
Okay.
See if they can get down to 10 or less. And when you pay that extra $50, if there's a way that you can write on your statement or type it online when you're paying online, put on principal, place on principal, payment for principal only, or just principal only. You wanted to go towards the principal because that's the main part that's being incurring the interest on the principal.
Okay.
Every month you incur an interest on the principal. So you always want to pay the credit card principal down, your car principal down, your mortgage principal down. Anything that has a principal, a loan that you may have, pay extra on the principal. Never pay the minimum payment.
Awesome.
I hope I answered all your questions. Did I answer all the questions?
Yeah, you answered because I keep, as you talking, I'm getting more. I'm excited about this. I hope you guys are truly excited about this information because, like we said earlier, the pandemic is going on. People, jobs, and different things is happening. People are digging into their savings to stay afloat. People are using credit cards to stay afloat. But we're talking about from the basics, and so we want to get you out of a place of if you are in debt, and then we want to transition you into how to build this wealth. Like, yes. And that's why I started off with the question, what's the definition of wealth? Because, yes. People look at that and they go one way. So my next question is, I don't know if I asked you, but how do you build wealth? Did I ask you that question? How to build wealth? Because now I want to transition from the debt part. So we got a definition of wealth. We know what a savings account should be used for. We talked about what credit cards, how should we use credit cards? We talked about the take on debt and how to, if we are already in that credit card situation, how do we get out of there? So I want to transition now to, how do we actually build it? Now that we know what it is and we know if we are already in debt, and if you knew and you haven't gotten in debt, then you know what not to do to get in debt. So for some of us older, more seasoned folk out there, that may have been transitioning from that debt era, and we're in that mid-balancing. So how can we go about now to, how should we build some wealth? What things should we do to build wealth? And Mary got some resources for us, and they'll be in the bottom of the video, and we'll have some resources on how you can get in touch with her and discuss more of this if you want to go deeper. But this is just some surface stuff I want to share with my audience here and her audience, and we just want to get into helping each other and helping you all improve your wealth and how you can transition from that left side to the right side, if you want to say it that way. So how should we build wealth? How should we go about building wealth?
Permission to read a scripture.
Yes, now I'm going to put this disclaimer out here for all my viewers and her, but we are women of God. Okay. And so, most you've seen some of my videos on YouTube. I come out and tell you I love the Lord and I'll be thanking Jesus. So yes, let's delve into what the word says.
Okay, Deuteronomy 8:18. It's a familiar scripture. I know a lot of you have already heard it before. And this is what it states. I don't believe this is King James. This is the NIV. The NIV says, "But remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth." So we need to know where our wealth comes from. Amen. And that helps you with your mindset. And the Lord is always telling us to renew our minds, right? So I have a little 7 best ways to start building your wealth. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about what I personally do. But this is what I found when I was doing some research. First, figure out your net worth. Woo! What is your net worth?
Yes.
What is that? So your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. Your net worth is your assets, everything that you own, okay, minus your liabilities, everything you owe. Okay? So if you have life insurance, you can consider that an asset. If your car is paid off, that's an asset. The jewelry and the furniture you have in your home, that's an asset. The money you have in your savings accounts and in your investments and mutual funds, that's an asset. If you have a vehicle that you're still paying on, what you still owe the bank is a liability. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the credit card debt you have is a liability. The mortgage that's still owed on the house is a liability. So you need to add up all your assets, add up all your liabilities, and you subtract liabilities from assets, and you get your net worth. And there was an article in an Essence magazine years ago. I was still active duty. I think it was 2015 or 16. Jill Scott's on the front cover. There was a survey that was done of 10 million Black women ages 18 to 64. This disturbed me. Because the average net worth was a number that I never thought I would ever hear or see. So Miss Wanda, can you guess what the net worth was, not of all the women together, but each individual woman, as it turned out to be, their net worth was what you think it is. What do you think?
You said it disturbed you, so I don't know if that's a good disturb or bad disturb. See, that's the kicker for me right there. So each individual had a different net worth that disturbed you.
It had a different net worth, but then when you averaged it out, it was a very bad number. It was a very low number.
Okay, so that disturbed. That's why I said if it's disturbing in a bad way, it had to be about $30,000. That's I'm gonna go with that.
That's amazing. I wish it was $30,000. It was $100.
So that means we living way above our means.
Oh, too much debt, way above our means. Nobody educated us on how money works. Nobody's reading to find out how money works. There's so many money books out there, and we'll give a list. I give you a list of the ones that I've read, Wanda.
Okay. And we'll put that in the description of the we'll put some resources down for you all in our in the below this video, so you can be able to get those descriptions, and then you'll be able to get some things. We'll have some things down there for you to grab hold to.
I'm gonna go to number 2. I'm gonna get off the net worth piece. Start saving automatically. And what we mean by automatically is that you need to set this up. If you're not good at remembering that you need to sock away $25 every paycheck or $50 every paycheck, then you need to have it come out as an ACH withdrawal automatically once it hits your bank. Okay, so have it set up where you're saving automatically and you don't have to think about it. And you won't even miss that $25 or that $50. Okay, take advantage of your employer's 401k program. And I know that Wanda, I'm sure she's going to ask something like that.
That's a question.
I'm sure that's in there somewhere. And so if you don't know what that is, then you need to ask HR, Human Resources, about the 401k. Google is amazing. Everything on Google is not always true, but you can go Google it and find out what that's about. Look at your cash flow. You got to look at your cash flow when you're going to build wealth, and you got to see what you got coming in. And do you have any passive cash flow coming in? And do you have more going out than coming in? So you got to look at that. And don't just let money sit. You got to put it in a vehicle. When I say vehicle, I mean not a bank and a credit union. I mean, it needs to be put somewhere else that is growing. Okay, so that's what I mean by vehicle. So you need to find the safest vehicle that's for you, because you have to be comfortable with wherever you put in your money. Okay, so it needs to be growing faster than a bank and a credit union is paying you for. Make sure that your savings and getting out of debt is a priority. Some people don't make it a priority. Get the kids involved. Have you ever gotten the kids involved? Do not shy the kids away from coming to the table when you guys are paying your bills. When you're talking about the right kind of life insurance, when you're talking about your will, which is protecting the wealth that you have. So bring the kids to the table. They need to know what dollar cost averaging. They need to know the interest rates on the mortgage, the credit cards, the car. They need to know these things. It should not be the first time they hear of it is when they leave your house. See, and you set them up.
Good. That's good. And that's what
set them up for trouble, right?
A lot of folks fail from our side. I speak for what we didn't do that well, and like I said, it wasn't taught in school, so we don't know. And we learned it once you get out there and get that college first credit card, because they out there. That's what they're doing on the campuses. They're giving you freshman college dudes that first credit card, and you're excited.
Yes. You're very excited, and they know that you don't know. And so that's why they come at you like a predator.
Yeah.
You got to use some wisdom. You got to be wise about it. And if your parents didn't know, then you need to find somebody that you respect and that you trust that can teach you and can help you. You need to log in and sign in to Wanda Parks seminars, webinars, podcasts, blogs, whatever it is that she's doing. You need to sign into it because she has great content for you. Great content. Eliminate debt as quickly and as fast as you can. How I feel about debt, I believe it's the enemy. Get mad at it. Get angry with it. Eliminate it. Get it out of your life. Remove toxic people. Are there any people in your life that are toxic, that are non-supportive of you, trying to make sure that you're financially free and independent? You have givers and you have takers. I'm a giver, and my ex was a taker. And so that's a challenge to live in the house with someone that's always taking, always spending, and you're trying to save for the rainy day. You're trying to build up, so that you can have something in the future, so that you can retire comfortably. That's why you save. That's why you invest for your retirement, so that you can enjoy your retirement. Read, study, talk to people. Like I said, get rid of toxic people who don't mean you any good, people who are not supportive, people who are still talking about the same thing that they talked about in high school. People are not growing and not going anywhere. So if you're not growing, you're dying, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So that's how we should start building our wealth. And can I put a little tidbit that I've told my children this for years, and I tell my nieces and nephews all the time: God is not making any more dirt. So you need to buy you some dirt. You need to buy you some dirt, meaning you need to get some acreage. You need to get some land. If you can't get acres right now, then you need to get a lot with a house on it that you own. Okay? You need to own that and know that God's not making any more dirt. He's not making any. So there's always wealth in real estate. There's always wealth and owning your own home. That's one of your foundations for building wealth after you've gotten that emergency fund set up in the right kind of life insurance coverage on you and your family, is that you need to start owning some dirt.
Awesome. Own some dirt. God ain't making them. One thing I do want to say when you were talking about that, I got some of my wheels be turning.
Let me turn it.
One thing you did say, and this is what I've heard you saying, be the lender, not the borrower. And that's scriptural, something in that.
Yes.
Is that somewhere? I think that somewhere it says you want to be the lender and not the borrower. Mm-hmm. And I wrote down Deuteronomy in my notes here.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to keep on moving because it's going to be some digressions. I'm just going to give y'all that too. Okay, so let's move on to, so she hit 401k, and I was going to ask, what's 401k? And I mean, like, you've probably heard it, but I guess my question would be, what is it? But then what's the benefit if you have a job of having a 401k?
Okay. Your 401k is going to be a retirement account that your employers set up for you. You contribute. Sometimes the employer contributes $1 for $1. Like if you put in $1, they put in $1. It's rare that you can find companies that are still doing that. Some of them are putting in 50 cents for every dollar that you put in. And you only put a percentage. So if you can tolerate 5% of your income going into a retirement account, then do that. Whatever percentage you can do and your household is not going lacking, do that. And it's being saved for you. And there are two basic types. There's a traditional 401k and there's a Roth. There's a traditional IRA and there's a Roth IRA. Mm-hmm. Traditionally, people put money in the traditional account for tax deferment. Okay, so you can actually get state taxes and federal taxes deferred with your traditional IRA. With the Roth IRA, you put that money in after tax money, after it's been taxed. Okay, your Roth is after tax money. So you got to think about this, which one you want to put it in, because traditional, you didn't pay taxes on that. Okay, taxes were deferred. So when you're ready to take that money out of the 401k, you pay taxes on that traditional account. Okay, so if you want a traditional and you want tax deferred, then that's the one you should get. If at the end and you're ready to retire, you're ready to take your money out of your 401k and you don't want to pay taxes on it, then you need to get the Roth IRA.
Let me ask you this question. So if I got the traditional and I retire and I go to take it out, is there an age that will require more or less taxes? Because now I've heard some say, like say you retire at 59, mm-hmm. wherever your job was, and you met that. But if I start withdrawing at 59, I don't know if I get penalized or is a higher tax.
You get penalized.
It could get penalized. So I have to wait till I'm 62. I don't know if the age has changed or not.
59 and a half.
Okay. So at 59 and a half, I can start taking it out.
With no penalties.
no penalty, but what would my tax bracket look like? Will they tax me based on my age, or do they tax you on income, or how do they tax you on what so I don't take it all out. Say I withdraw. Now this is a two-part question. So if I withdraw, let's see, just say I only need $300 a month. I'm only going to be taxed on the $300 I take out, right?
Right.
Okay. And then am I going to be taxed at a higher rate or a lower rate, or what tax bracket will they put me in? Because I'm retired now.
Now, the IRS is going to calculate your tax bracket.
Oh.
It depends on how much money you are earning at the time, what tax bracket you're in. Because while you're in the military, you may be at a 28% tax bracket. But then when you retire, you're getting half base pay. So you may be at a 15% tax bracket. I don't know what it's going to be.
Oh, okay. And so they'll tax you based on your income then. That's what I'm saying. Okay, right. So that's good to know. So if you don't have any income coming in, say, you're regular, we not, just a normal average person at a regular, job. So if all they got is their Social Security check coming in, and they have to look.
Yeah, your Social Security check is not taxed.
Oh, okay.
And your disability is not taxed.
So then if that's all I got coming in, then they'll just figure out what they'll tax that money coming out in now, or whatever, that $300.
Yeah, out of your 401k.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they will figure out what your tax bracket is and how to start taking money out of or taxing your 401k. If it was traditional, you're going to pay taxes on it. If it was Roth, you're not going to pay taxes on it, but you will pay 10% penalty if you take it out before 59 and a half. After 59 and a half, you can take your money out and not get taxed at 10% penalty, but you will get taxed your regular tax on it.
Okay.
The regular taxation on the traditional. Now, some people don't need their 401k or their IRAs, and they still let that money stay in there till they're 71, 72 years old. It is mandatory now. You have to take it out at 70 and a half. You need to start receiving your annuity payments. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it used to be, the laws change all the time, especially with the president that we have right now. Things have changed. You can still put money in your IRA up to the age of 72.
Okay.
It used to be that they had stopped you at a certain point and you can't put any more money in for your retirement because you're in your 70s.
Right.
And so they've increased that. So you have to check with your bookkeeper, whoever does your books or does your taxes. They should be up on the new tax laws. But don't always just trust the person that's doing your books. You still need to do your own due diligence. Educate.
Like the show Rocky, when he gave power of attorney and he lost everything. You remember Rocky 4?
No.
I don't know. It's one of the Rockies.
Yes.
I digress. Yes. All right, so let's move right along here. Okay, should you own stock, or should people have stock for wealth building?
My answer is a definite yes, and hurry up and buy some before they all go back up to the price that they were before. Because when the pandemic first started, January, people started getting wind of it, December, January, stock market started dropping in February. March is when I started buying stuff that had dropped, March, April, May. So you need to know the criteria of how to buy it. And that's why I like Dr. Boyce Watkins. He has developed and created the Black Business School, him and his colleagues, and I think a brother has helped him with that. He used to be a financial instructor and economics instructor at Harvard University. So blackbusinessschool.com is one of his websites. And he also has created Blag Enough, not Black Enough, but Blag Enough, BLAGG, I think it's ENUFF. Yes, BLAGGENUF. Because so many people are using Facebook and their pages are being taken down and they have no control over it. And so him and his colleagues have created a website very similar to Facebook that you, as an African-American, can use. So go visit Black Enough, visit his site, and he gives you advice on which stocks to buy. do your due diligence. You need to make sure that the CEO of the company is running the company well and not running it into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I would pray about it, whatever stocks you're going to buy, but you need to look at what's happening in the future, what's happening now. What's the future going to look like? Do I need to buy this, and if something's low, and that after the pandemic, it's going to go back up. Like a lot of people are not flying right now, right?
Right.
The airplanes. So you got your airlines stocks are really low right now. So that's just a hint. Buy low, sell high. Buy low, sell high. And know that the stock market is based on emotion and fear.
Mm.
Emotion and fear. So when people are scared, okay, they take their money out of the market. And when the market is low, people get scared. That's not when you get scared. That's when you buy more. Okay? When the
Right.
stocks go low, you buy more. And then when the stocks go up, you double and triple. Then you sell. Once you've made hundreds of thousands of dollars on
Right.
that.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, I got that. I done wrote my emotions. See, my little notebook is over here writing. If I'm looking down, I'm writing. All right. So the next question I do have for you is, what does it mean to diversify? Because I know a lot of people say diversify, but if you don't really understand that, what does that mean and what does that look like? I mean, sometimes I just hear people say, oh, diversify, and they're like, okay, you told me diversify, but I already know what that means. You read it in a dictionary and they give you say, okay, but I really don't know what that means. So when we're talking about building wealth and having people in that financial wellness pillar,
Right.
what does diversify really mean? How can one give a very simple step that they could take to say, okay, this is what diversifying means? Does it mean having two savings accounts? Does it mean having a savings account and some under the mattress? And grandma put it in the coffee mug over the coffee can over the fridge. She diversified. She got a little bit in the bank. She got a little bit in that can up there. She diversified. I mean,
I love you. I love you. I love the way you explain things. Okay, let me see if I can make it easy, um, simple. Make it simple. Diversification is not easy. It's very simple. Building wealth is not easy, but it's simple. It's all simple. Diversifying means that it's a risk management strategy. It's reducing the amount of risk when you are putting your money in investments. Okay, when you diversify and buy stocks and bonds, and not just stocks. If you buy stocks, then you're taking a high risk. When you buy stocks and bonds, then your risk is a lot lower and it's not as volatile. Okay, so you need a wide variety of investments, not just one type of investment. Don't just buy gold and silver,
mm-hmm.
and don't buy any technology. Okay. Okay. So the rationale behind it is that you want your portfolio to be diverse so that when stocks are down, bonds are always up.
Oh.
Okay. And when bonds are low, stocks are always up. So they go in reverse.
Inverse order. Okay.
Okay.
So it's plant your garden with many seeds. So don't just have all collard greens. Have you a little bit of tomato and some cucumbers and some green.
I love it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Your portfolio needs to look like a salad. It needs to look like a garden. And you need to have a variety in there so that in the wintertime, you're growing your winter vegetables, like you say, your greens and lettuces and things like that. And what you got summer squash, you got fall squash, and you got blueberries and peppermint, and you're growing all these different things because they're going to grow at different rates. Okay.
I don't know why it made me think of the garden when you were talking.
A wonderful analogy. I love it. I love it. It's a wonderful analogy. That's a rationale behind diversification.
Okay.
That the portfolio needs to have different kinds of assets in it. Okay. Not just one. It needs to have different kinds of assets because it lowers your risk tolerance.
Okay, so if I wrap that up in a nice bow in my brain, now you guys know I'm talking my brain here. So if I wrap all that up, I'm diversifying. So that brings me back to what we own and what we owe to get our net worth. So that will play a part in knowing your net worth is looking
Yeah.
at that diversification of your finances.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So see, I wrap everything. I have to wrap it all to make it packaged real pretty in my brain. So I hope this is helping someone out there listening to this interview. And this has been an amazing interview. I'm super, like I said, I'm super excited. So that was one of the questions. But one thing I do want to touch on, if you guys did not hear the theme that she has spoken to you all throughout every question, pretty much every question, catch the theme. And I wrote the theme down because she kept saying it over and over. Mindset.
Oh, yes.
She said that thing, mindset. And when I'm teaching people on the physical wellness piece, and they can't figure out why they're getting ahead or they're not getting where they want to go, the same thing, mindset. You're talking wealth, it's mindset. So anything that you need to change in your life, it's got to start with the mindset. And then once you get the mindset, you get the education she talked about. You get the learning she talked about. And then you get on things that resonate with your spirit, and people that's talking about things that resonate, that's real. This is a real interview. This is real. We are real people. We are not hypey. You see, we're sitting up here sipping coffee, drinking water, laughing, stretching. I got my blanket because I'm always cold. So we're doing real things here, but our hearts is to help you all. And that's why I'm super excited that I was able to invite her on here to talk with you all about this wealth and how do we really build, and give us some good understanding. Like I said, everything she talked about, I will put all of that information in the comments so you can get on that website, check those things out, check out some reads that she's recommending for us, do some exercises on on your net worth. $100. Can you guys believe that? That is just, wow. I said 30,000. I'm thinking a year, and she's saying $100, and I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy.
It is.
So again, like I said, I'm just super excited. So now I have one more question I want to ask, and something else she said, and I don't know if you guys caught this, and she said it in her conversation. I'm always listening, picking up those little small things that's off the cuff. The vehicle to get wealth. There's many ways to do that. And so a vehicle that I'm going to ask her about, because of what's going on in the world, and you got everything going online, and everybody's in isolation, and isolation is not good for everybody, for social and mental. God didn't make us to be isolated, so this is our time. But we're not going to go down that rabbit. That's another conversation. Or maybe we talk on spiritual interview. We can do that on another interview. But my last question, I'm going to say I think, because I ain't going to say it's true. Is a home-based business a good or bad way to build wealth as a vehicle?
I tell you, that's one of the best questions, because a home-based business, my opinion, is the best way. One of the best ways to build your wealth. You have low overhead when you start your home-based business. You're not out there paying for a brick and mortar building. There are people who started clothing stores and they've had to rent a building and buy inventory and hire people. So what I was told over the years in the, getting my businesses up and running from mentors is that you work 9 to 5 is your bread and butter, okay, on your day job, okay? That's to pay the bills. You work 5 to 9 after you get off work. 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. to build your wealth and to build your freedom and to create a lifestyle. Okay? Mindset again. You got to have the mindset that, okay, I'm an employee working 9 to 5, but you're building somebody else's dream. Okay? But when you come home, you need to switch gears and you need to start thinking like a business owner and start saying, well, how many hours am I going to invest in my own dream? So find a home-based business that you enjoy, that you love, that you don't have to be in by yourself. You are independent with it. and you're in business for yourself, but you don't have to be in there by yourself. There are mentors around you that can teach you what they know and how they've reached their millionaire status. Home-based businesses, this country was built on entrepreneurship.
It was, yes,
But
it
it was
was.
built, it was built. Our tax laws are based on entrepreneurship. There are so many tax loops and what I want to say, discounts that you can get by being a business owner that you can't get by being an employee for somebody else.
Yeah.
So think about what it is, do your due diligence. You got to go do your research, and you need to find a mentor, somebody who's where you want to be, and find out what is that you want to do. Get a coach. Please get a coach. Don't always go it alone. You know, in life, you need a coach. You know, in business, you need a coach. You know, in relationships, you need a coach. In health and wealth, you need a coach.
You need a coach.
You know, don't go it alone. So find somebody, but I think it's amazing. I think it's awesome. You know, unless you're a tycoon and you were born into the wealth, a home-based business is a wonderful way to start building your wealth.
But
Absolutely.
you say they were born into it. When you think about they were born into it, their ancestors started at home somewhere too. They just happened to be the legacy you talked about early on. You said wealth is economic empowerment to leave a legacy. So I wrapped that all up in the bow for you all. Hope, you see, I always have to wrap it up, and I have a method to the madness here. And I do what I do out of my heart. She does what she does out of her heart. And like she said in the beginning, we met so long ago, and it's just been an amazing relationship. And sometimes you don't have to talk to someone every day to know that they're there. And she's one of those for me. And we, you know, just have this great relationship, and I love it. I want to bring her to you all to share her knowledge and things, and how, you know, what she has to offer. And I really hope you guys took some notes and took down and found some nuggets out of this interview with her, because for me it's very good. I'm going to go back and do some net worth looking at, and just some things I want to look back into and get into. And so take this time. I really want you guys to go back and take this time out and look at, you know, she used the example of the car payment. If you're making this much, do this much. And like I say, I'm gonna have some resources where you can get in touch with her, and she can be that wealth coach for you, as I'm the health coach for some. So we work in tandem. We work, you know, but I want to give you guys opportunity to go and learn about those things and figure out, you know, how much should that car note really be? How much of that mortgage, you know, because, and another thing she said, and nothing she said was, she said, get a coach. You got to have some, and a coach is also like your accountability partner, because a lot of times we have good intentions.
Yes, we do.
And you just get home from that 9 to 5, and it's like, okay, that 5 to 9 ain't gonna work because I got to be in bed by 8. But what I will say to that is, if that's your case, really look at that 5 to 8, those hours in that, and block some time, 20 minutes, to do something really for your wealth building. If you're going to do the home-based business thing, and you find the proper vehicle for you to do that with, and those tax breaks and tax laws, and she talked about was just, I mean, I could have went a lot more, and we could be on this, but again, go look at your net worth, look at your percentages of your mortgage and your cars and some things like that. And also, I love the fact that she said wealth is sustainable. That was good. I like that. The delayed gratification. So I'm doing some synopsis in my own of what I could write down, because it was just really, for me, it was just really good. And then the fact that stock is based on emotion and fear.
The stock market.
Stock market. Yeah, the stock market.
Absolutely. Because people get scared, they take their money out. You know, they get emotional, they get hyped up, and they'll take the money out. And that's not
my thing is, when they take the money out, what do they do with the money? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Where do you put it? So we talked about diversifying. Okay, so you take it out the stock because you got scared, but then where do you put it? Do you put it in the bank for 0.045% or whatever? You know,
Yeah.
what do you do with that when you pull it out? Do you put it somewhere else? Do you get bonds? And then can you take the bonds and shift them? Bonds is the paper thing.
It can be. It has been, yes.
Well, that shows
Yeah,
my
yeah,
age.
we used to sell bonds like that, but they're bonds that are in your portfolio.
That's electronic.
Yes.
Okay, I have the paper. I see age.
And that's fine to have that. That's just one type of bond. That's just one type. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that when I think of bonds, I think of working in the vault. I used to work in the vault at
Yes.
the bank, and they had the bonds, and we had these big sheets. And this,
The EE bonds and the HH bonds.
yeah, these were big. I worked right outside the vault, so I was always afraid that someone's gonna close the vault. So I hated going in there. I'd be like, leave the door open. I mean, they weren't closing it, but you know that it was huge. It's just amazing. But anyway, I think that's all I have for you. It's been a great interview. Again, information for everything we talked about will be in the links, some resources, some books that she's recommended. One last thing, Mary, how can they contact you? How can they meet you on social media? Where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on my website. It is MLS-International. So that's my website, and we'll put it in the description as well. And I am on Facebook. I am on Twitter. I don't go to Twitter often, busy lifestyle. But I am on Messenger, so you will see me doing something.
So Facebook. So we'll put our Facebook link and her website in the link in the below, so you guys can check her out there and reach out. You know,
absolutely. Call me, email me. We'll put the email in there. Reach out to me, and I will be happy to sit down and do a complimentary financial needs analysis. So
awesome.
That's a free financial needs analysis that is valued at $1,200. And I tell you, rich people pay $15,000 for a financial needs analysis once a year.
All right, so you heard it right here. So don't be shy to look at your wealth, folks. This is something, you really need to take in consideration when you're talking about wealth in the money side of wealth. I talk about wealth from a physical wellness is wealth, So you're looking at it from a different, we're talking about the financial pillar here and the wealth building here. So reach out to her, get your free financial analysis. Like I said, we'll have all the contact information. So the description box is going to be filled with some stuff. So don't be shy to go down and check it out. All right. So that's all we have. And I thank you guys for joining.